I am delighted to have such curious minds grace this very showroom, which houses weapons, artifacts, and pictures of the olden days of the Smashers. Now, some of you may be thinking, who are the Smashers, and why should I spend my taxpayers' dollars on learning about such a minuscule species? Well, just what makes them minuscule adds so much to how intriguing they are. Or were, provided the stragglers have yet to die. Shall we proceed? So just who are these Smashers? Well, they are one of the most tenacious beings to have ever been created. Unlike the human race, they are actually trophies brought to life, descendants of these brave heroes who themselves were brought to life by the deities known as the Hands, who banded together to stop the forces of Taboo from plunging their world into subspace. Now, think of subspace like a black hole, except within subspace lies both ruin and chaotic play. Oh, I'm sure you would like to experience a black hole firsthand, huh? I'm sure feeling your atoms explode rapidly one after the other ever so piques your fancy. As I expected. Shall we continue? As time went on, more trophies spawned and multiplied excessively from the original saviors. They became less like their source materials and took on their own unique personas. Their traits compared to the saviors soon became different as night and day. Pictures from their world, which was simply called the World of Trophies, were too deteriorated and fragile to keep exposed, so they were all scanned, restored, and digitally preserved. I almost laughed when I saw how excessively jaggy and small the pictures were, but moving on. Gaze upon these Smashers. Differing personalities aplenty. Villains like that white Bowser turned builders. Hedgehogs like that fruit-obsessed hyperactive twit, far from the heroic not as hyperactive hero of Mobius. And especially that Pit, more laid back and could actually fly, as opposed to the proud tool-assisted protector of Angel Land.
Angel Land? Are you goddamn serious?
It's a long story. Care to see the armory section? Smashers were known for their tenacity and fighting prowess. To go against one of them in their prime would not only be a test of strength, but of stamina too. Even so, there were some, shall we say, less than experienced fighters who needed some form of fighting aid to turn the tides of battle. What you see before you is but a small group of items that the Smashers would often use, some more powerful than others, of course. But sadly, the most powerful, the Smash Ball, that granted most Smashers a single unique finishing move, had vanished during the excavation of their world, and sadly is not with us. My personal favorite here is the disc-shaped item called a bumper. Anyone who comes in contact with it gets launched back a couple of yards. Who wants a demonstration?
No!
Killjoys. You know, harkening back to the personality changes, let's examine their period of self-modification. There was a time that a few Smashers were able to find a way to modify their very own appearance. This phenomenon, also known as texture hacking, took their world by storm, as many Smashers started to modify their own colors and help them stand out in multiple ways. Many needed another to aid them in their own hacks, but handfuls were able to modify themselves and go beyond simply recolors, modifying their whole bodies to look like completely different characters and going further to alter the planes they traversed. Truly spectacular, is it not?
They look like fan characters!
Don't get me started on the Sonic texture hacks. And so many Smashers collaborated with one another and formed teams to show off their creative prowess. Not just in texture hacks, but delving into the world of cinematography and telling stories using stock Smashers, or at rare times, themselves. Most of their work took heavy inspiration from outside sources, commonly Japanese animations, by the way. There were many teams, such as Virtual Smash, Electronic Core, Das Donkey Team, Daironto Glitch Force, Elite Smash Hackers, oh, the list goes on and on. There arose the main conflict. The Smashers, deep inside, were uncivil and unruly, as the only trait they retained from their savior ancestors was the need to fight. Most were able to maintain such traits, but good portions of the populace were not as in control. As time went on, there was a surplus of groups and content creators who would do anything to stand out in the crowd, even if it meant betraying their own kind. Ever heard of the phrase, quality over quantity? They were living examples of quantity over quality. texture hacks were pouring in from the once massive populace, but so many of them nosedived in quality, overshadowing the few outstanding modifications made. The groups would not tolerate being overshadowed by one another, even if it was for avoiding rock bottom at all costs. And thus began the Brawl Apocalypse. Or the Brawl Apocalypse, to use a colloquialism.
What's a colloquial?
Go read a dictionary, goddammit! The Brawl Apocalypse lasted for quite some time, but only because of the immense amount of participants and their sheer tenacity. They are genetically capable of withstanding numerous attacks and weaponry. Attempting to kill a Smasher with a sword, explosives, lasers, elements, magic, or your own two hands would prove absolutely ineffective. They'd get hurt or get sent flying, but they would still be alive. But if they were to, say, be shot by a real gun, that could kill them, since they did not have normal guns in their world. Even so, there are ways to subdue a Smasher. If you wish to completely capture a Smasher, you would need to change them into a trophy, leaving them completely immobile, at least until another Smasher came around to touch the immobile victim and reawaken them. Throwing one of these trophy stands at a weakened Smasher was a slightly faster way to capture them as well. For a select few, however, they wielded this. The Dark Cannon. A fairly heavy weapon, but can revert a Smasher into a trophy instantly. I've heard that if this is used on a non-Smasher, it can cut through you like butter. Nothing concrete on that rumor, yet. See this gentleman right here? This is an actual Smasher, reduced to a mere trophy. Shame, really. Being a trophy truly is a prison for these Smashers. But during the Brawl Apocalypse, if you weren't fighting, you would be forcefully drafted to fight, or executed by having yourself turned into a trophy and smashed to pieces. Smasher trophies are fairly resilient, so who knows how much force it would take to break one. Being crushed by Giga Bowser, perhaps? Who knows? After the Brawl Apocalypse, which lasted approximately 6 months, most of the resources on their world had been used up for firepower, broken down armory, sustenance, and falling ships. Their world became a wasteland, something the supernatural hands were aware of too. To the very few that survived, they were given a reset coin, and a one-way portal to another universe, where they could possibly live their remaining lives in peace. The reset coin, which can only be used by Smashers once, would allow them to change their form into something completely different. They would retain their memories, but they would renounce their status as a Smasher and abilities they had prior. We call them former Smashers.
So all those freaking Pikachu and Lucario out there are Smashers?
They are what are known as pseudo-Smashers, meaning they look like them, especially all those Pokemon and Hedgehogs, but in reality, they are not Smashers genetic-wise. Just remember, should you ever encounter a pure Smasher, proceed with caution. They are endangered, they are feared, and they may retain their need to fight and take down anyone who dares to try and keep them from reaching the top, whatever their definition of the top is. Perhaps they might be more docile and passive, longing for a relaxing life and an escape from their past. Well, if you lot will follow me, the gift store is right over here. We have some specials for Gooey Bomb Cherry Pops, Smart Bomb Jawbreakers, and Mr. Saturn Plushies. We've also just restocked on toy bean swords, plastic bumpers with real-time feedback, and custom t-shirts, ranging from the Fox Louie Stoplight to the Smash Ball Crosshair.
Has it really been over 5 years since all of this? 5 long years.
Time flies when you aren't in danger every day. I remember some of these guys. Wonder how they're doing now.
If they're even still alive. We still got a reset coin, right?
Still got mine, but I'm not using it anytime soon. Maybe on a rainy day, but definitely.
Come on, let's go! I'm getting more memories haunting me by the second.
Shut up and be proud of your heritage.
Shut up, Pseudo Smasher!
Don't touch a single knob! Alright, Aku. Let's go. Why are you...
This picture belongs to me, so technically is mine. I'm just taking it back. Besides, I don't want anyone looking at my orange fur. Ugh, good God, I remember making so many texture hacks that all these chemicals just stuck to my fur and made me look like a clown. Yeah, whatever. Let's just go.
Sure thing, game guy.
I heard that, Mello. I told you this before. My name isn't Game Guy anymore!